We're certainly in unprecedented times. Millions of Canadians are holed up inside. Businesses are shuttered. Schools are cancelled as the country tries to contain the spread of COVID-19. But the Conservative leadership race is, for now, still a go. Some candidates have asked, actually, that the race be suspended. At least one candidate, however, strongly disagrees. Peter MacKay is that candidate. He joins us now from Toronto. Hi, Mr. MacKay. Thanks for making time for us.
Hi, Vashi. Pleasure to be with you. Hope you're well.
You as well. I wanted to start off by asking you, I was looking through your Twitter feed today, and in the last, I think it's 6 hours, you've tweeted 5 tweets focused on this race and how you believe that it should proceed. At a time when Canadians en masse are losing their jobs, are worried about their health, worried about losing their loved ones, is that the right call?
Well, democracy doesn't take a nap or doesn't sleep. And just like the media who are continuing to cover this story, leaders of the opposition and members of the opposition have an important role to play to hold the government to account, to push forward with ideas, constructive ideas. And look, I've been predominantly supportive of what the government has been doing. I've presented other ideas as well as part of this leadership contest. But Vashi, I think it's important to note that in World War I, World War II, in the Great Depression, we had elections. We actually had elections take place, the height of democratic exercise. I also note that in the United States, their Congress is still sitting. They have their race that's ongoing, and they'll be using a mail-in ballot, the same as the Conservative Party intends to do. In the United Kingdom, the mother of all democracies, they're still sitting. Many parliaments around the world are still sitting. We saw something unprecedented happen in our country less than 48 hours ago, and that was a government who tried to circumvent the Parliament of Canada to give themselves unprecedented powers, never granted in times of war or depression. They tried to get the power of the purse, the ability to raise taxes, the ability to spend money without the check on Parliament, even though it's a minority Parliament. So it highlights the reason for a permanent member of the official opposition to have a permanent leader and to move forward in this process. This is not interfering in public health. We're respecting.
I'm not. I understand that.
Necessary public health precautions.
Yeah, Mr. MacKay, I'm not accusing you of interfering in public health, but for example, even when you use the example of the need for this or the need for a permanent leader, your party did successfully stop the Liberals from doing what they, what critics have said they were trying to do, right? Regardless of the fact that you were there or not, they were able to.
Yes, they were.
So why then do you need to be focused on this race?
Well, I just outlined that democracy demands that you have an effective and efficient and a permanent leader of the opposition. We have other parliaments around the world who continue to sit while ours is dormant. And we have other leadership races going on, including just south of us to the United States of America. So I'm not sure why it is that the media, other members of our party, other contenders, and some members of the government think that it's ludicrous that we want to have a permanent member to hold the government to account. I find that quite troubling.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it's ludicrous. I didn't use that word. I'm not even saying that the race. No, but I'm not even saying that the race shouldn't go ahead. But on a day, for example, following 1 million people applying for EI, why is your Twitter feed? You have a great platform. A lot of people follow you. Why are you tweeting about this? Why are you talking about this and not addressing the feeling that exists right now in this country? Is that a bad judgment call?
Is it a bad judgment call or false presentation to look at one day, a snapshot on my Twitter feed, and suggest that that's all I've been doing, Vashi? I've been talking about constructive ideas on how we can better get services in place, how we can support workers, how we could raise the basic personal exemption, ensure that the EI system is going to support workers in primary industries. We have been putting forward all kinds of ideas daily. I've been holding town halls with thousands of Canadians every evening, hearing directly from them. They are very engaged, very interested in continuing in this democratic process of electing a new leader. I've been doing what all campaigns are doing, and that is continuing outreach, looking for ways in which we can support constructively efforts to combat COVID-19. We are respecting, of course, public health, as I said previously, and commending daily the efforts of our wonderful healthcare workers, emergency responders. I've personally been encouraging people to give at the food bank, to give blood, to support the elderly and the vulnerable. So yes, I've been using that platform regularly. Today is but a snapshot in time that you've referenced.
Are you still raising money right now for your campaign?
We are not raising money online, but we continue to have efforts to raise money. This is a campaign that, of course, costs money, as are other campaigns.
So, but you haven't put out any fundraising calls? Is that what I just want to make sure that I'm clear. And I'm asking only because some of the other...
We are not soliciting.
Okay.
If you go to my Twitter feed, you'll see it in the last 8 days. We have not solicited money. We've encouraged people to go to the food bank and give blood.
A former head of communications, to Prime Minister Stephen Harper, Andrew McDougall, asked the question, has Peter MacKay, and I'm quoting him here, lost his mind? MacKay is literally the only Canadian pretending the virus isn't upending absolutely everything. What do you say to that?
That's a ludicrous statement from a guy who's not even living in Canada.
Why is it ludicrous?
Well, are you suggesting that accusing somebody of losing their mind is not ludicrous? You're talking to me. Do I sound like I've lost my mind, Vashi? I mean, come on.
What about the second part of that? What about
inflammatory statement?
It's
a ludicrous inflammatory statement to accuse somebody of having lost their mind.
Do you understand the genesis, maybe not the statement itself, but the genesis of what he's saying, that you seem alone in the making this a rallying point? I'm not accusing you of saying that this is, should be focused on instead of public health, or that the race shouldn't go ahead. But the idea that you're sending an email about this to your supporters, that you're tweeting about it, you're making it a rallying point. Is that at odds with where Canada is right now?
It's not at odds with the thousands of people that I've been talking to nightly, Vashi, the members of the caucus that I've been talking to, members of the provincial caucus here. I spoke with my riding association last night in Nova Scotia. They were all supportive of continuing this democratic process to elect a leader of the official opposition. I find it quite odd that there is such a rallying on the part of the media and on certain individuals in other camps that want it to stop. That's what I find odd.
Who I don't understand, other than this one individual. I mean, there are people questioning the positions you're putting forth. Why is that odd?
Well, you just made the point that I seem to be the only one in Canada that wants this to go forward. That's not true.
That's the point that Mr. McDougall made. He said he's literally the only Canadian pretending the virus isn't upending absolutely everything.
Well, you're repeating it, and I'm suggesting that's not true.
So what is the end goal here, though? Do you want to see a new date? Do you want to see an earlier date? Because you had suggested that at one point.
I will respect the decision of the party. That, again, is something that's very vibrant in the Conservative Party. We have duly elected officials that are appointed to make that decision, and we'll wait for their decision. I believe that's today.
Are you worried at all about Conservative members having, given the sort of stresses on their life right now, having the ability to devote the attention necessary for, democracy to be fulfilled, to really truly be able to not just cast a vote, but sort of be involved to the degree that they should be in the race, pay attention to the positions put forth? Is that possible under this current circumstances?
Well, I would suggest that most Canadians, in fact, the vast majority, are at home right now with a lot of time. And yes, they're stressed, and yes, they would much rather be at work and doing other things and traveling and going about their lives, but they're paying a lot of attention. I'm hearing from thousands of them daily. And as members of the Conservative Party, they're very dialed in to this race. They've been participating. It's going to be a mail-in ballot, I have to note. And so, again, there's no risk involved here. And so, yes, I find them very engaged, very interested. They recognize, particularly in the recent context of what the Trudeau Liberal government tried to do in the last 48 hours, the importance of having strong leadership that will represent them in Ottawa. We have a large number of Canadians, as you know, who are feeling left out because there's no Liberal representation in their province. And so it's very important that members of the Conservative Party are able to voice their views and to hold the government to account on issues like energy, issues around the environment, issues that affect their daily lives. Having a carbon tax continue and actually go up in the next number of days is something I've been hearing a lot about. Hearing from the ag sector, who are very concerned about getting their seed in the ground and being able to get it on rail and being able to move. Those in the energy sector who have seen their industry flattened because of philosophic opposition from the Liberal government to the energy sector. So, yes, we've been having a great discussion online, daily, on telephones, on video conferences, and we've been having no difficulty whatsoever in getting people to engage in this very important, vibrant discussion and exercise in democracy.
I just want to be clear before I let you go. Are you saying that the party as it exists right now, under the leadership of Andrew Scheer, is not accomplishing all of what you just laid out?
No, that's what you're saying. I didn't say that at all. I'm suggesting
what
that
are
it's
you
important that we
saying
continue in the exercise. I'm saying it's important that after Mr. Scheer made the announcement he was stepping down, that we follow through on the exercise of replacing him, of having a permanent leader in place.
Okay, I'll leave it there. Mr. MacKay, thanks so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it very much.
Thanks, Vashi. Always a pleasure.
Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.